there's a lot of rumor mill stuff, and there's very few things that are actually confirmed that are going on right now. So that's what I wanted to jump into and do a bit of a let's talk on. Is a lot of this stuff here. Um, this whole post right here from Inside Gaming, we're going to read in on it and whatnot, and we're going to debunk a lot of what they're saying, because a lot of what they're saying is just rumor based stuff. So let's jump over to here. I've seen this exact same post be posted by like 3 or 4 different people using this same this is just a like a Reddit user came up with this or some shit. It's just like a concept art thing that somebody came up with, and they were like, "This is official Sony concept art." And now everybody keeps using it. Inside Gaming doubles down on the previous report. PS5 Pro is in development. Inside Gaming can report with 100% degree. We're gonna read into this. First party studios getting dev kits in the next few months. This is so people are dubbing it the PlayStation Pro because Inside Gaming keeps saying it's a PlayStation Pro. If anything, it's a PlayStation 5 Slim model. It's not really a Pro model because it's the exact same as we can see from over here. Let's actually read this whole. Let's jump into this whole article and read it. Why is everything always on the left hand side? Go on the right hand side. Move over there. I can't move it over either. That's not cool. Anyways, so Sony has been testing, prototyping, and releasing many different new pieces of hardware for the PS5 as of late. In this console generation, we've already seen 3 subtle variations of the PS5 due to reduce its weight. The DualSense Edge, yes. So this is true. They have made it's not to reduce weight; it's to reduce production costs of materials used for. So basically, the newer my day one PS5 has way more copper in it for copper cooling pipes than the PS5 that you could go down to the store and pick up right now. There is a different method of them cooling the system down. It's kind of worked. It's there's no problems with it. It's just a different system that they're using. It's not so much copper. It's a different material. I can't remember exactly what they replaced it with, but it's kind of similar to how laptops cool themselves down. It's basically the best way that they can cool down the system without it going like water cooling. Again, I think like the PlayStation 6, I think we might end up seeing like a little water cooling solution happening with the next generation of consoles that comes after the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Anyways, so the DualSense Edge, yes, that has come out. I really want to get one of those. They're really cool. They're very expensive, but they're really cool. And the PlayStation VR 2, again, very expensive, although nowhere near. It's like a third the price of every other VR headset out there. So if you're looking to get into like the newest, latest, greatest VR headset, PlayStation VR 2 is probably your best bet because it's really the most bang for your buck right now that you can go forward to get. But it doesn't seem like Sony is slowing down anytime soon with 6 new pieces of hardware in various stages of development. So some of these pieces of hardware that they're going to be talking about in this, I agree with. Some of them, I highly doubt it's actually going to be a real thing. And some more information, please visit PlayStation blog. Let's see here. Okay, Project Leonardo is the only announced piece of hardware on our list. This says everything. So if it's been announced, or if it's actually like they are working on like they'll have a video like this where Sony is showing you like, yes, we are working on this thing. We want your fan input on this, especially for a controller like this. Leonardo is a highly customizable accessibility controller that will allow players with disabilities to play more easily, which is really, really cool. So Xbox came out with something similar to this. It was like a little white box controller with a bunch of buttons on it, and it has like 2 little pads and everything. You can fully customize it to depend on like what your disability is. It's sold really well because there is a lot of disabled gamers, and there's a lot of people that are disabled that don't think they can game, but then using a controller that is built for literally accessibility options, it just opens up a whole plethora of people that don't have a hand for some reason, whether it's like you're a vet and your hand, was blown off in war or something, or you just were born without a hand. Either which way, you can, there is controllers out there that you can use and customize and make accessible specifically for your handicapped. Yeah. Uh, so Sony says that the controllers have been developed with key contributions from accessibility experts, community members, and game developers, which is very cool too. So game developers, we've seen this in the way of accessibility options in the game engines. So like The Last of Us to oh god, what God of War, and like a lot of the PlayStation Studios titles have it to where you can flip the colors, invert colors, you can do audio awareness. Actually, Street Fighter Five and what was it, Gran Turismo, I do believe, they're gonna have like this beep system happening. So where in Street Fighter Five, if you get closer to the opponent, it's gonna go beep 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 beep. It's gonna like the closer you get, so you can hear. You can literally play Street Fighter Five with your eyes closed. Super cool. So then the other, let's see here. The other thing was the PlayStation VR units. They're going to try and use that for accessibility for, what was it? VR? No. It's the accessibility options in the game, trying to also help alongside VR to put possibly handicapped players into, like, literally you can sit inside the car and go driving a track day or something that those people would never even think of that they could ever do. You can do it using PlayStation technology. Super cool, super cool. Project Leonardo, big thumbs up on that one. I'm seeing the bit rate is going a little bit up and down. Looks like everything's running smooth though. We haven't had any drop frames. I think it's just dropping slightly down underneath the down to like the 4,000 kilobyte range. So it might get a little, it might get slightly pixelated on stream. We should be good though. So okay, so now we're going to start getting into the, I don't think this is actually true stuff. So PlayStation 5 console, a new one. If you're following Inside Gamer regularly, you've already sick of hearing about the new PlayStation 5 and detachable disc drive. So this is more or less the slim model, and I could see this being a thing that should release later this year. Although reports have dubbed the new PlayStation 5 as a slim model, which that's more or less like I could see this happening, because we are getting to like maybe the possible halfway mark on the PlayStation 5. We don't know. We don't know how long this generation of console is going to last. Nobody's going to know that until PlayStation finally has like a set thing of, okay, here's the next gen. Inside Gaming understands that the console will Inside Gaming understands that the console will be almost identical to the PlayStation 5, but feature a detachable disc drive. So they can manufacture the exact same console, but if you can detach the disc drive, then you can just end up making it so that you can sell it at possibly a cheaper price. You get more consoles out there, maybe. In fact, it's understandable the new PlayStation 5 will completely phase out the old design within a year. So if they are actually, so it's not even a slim model at that point, it's just an upgraded model. So it's not a Pro, it's not a Slim, it's just like, this is what the PlayStation 5 is now. Probably because there's so many people. I would, damn it, we're getting drop frames now. I would actually think that the digital model of the PlayStation could have possibly outsold at this point the actual disc-based version of the console, because everything is digital now. Like, everybody usually buys everything digital now. And we had a bit of a frame droppage there. New York servers are really rough right now. They are running super rough. I had the stream completely cut out there yesterday or day before, whenever it was. Okay, so although not confirmed by sources, we would hope to see the console revealed at the next PlayStation Showcase. Yeah, I don't know about that. What I would say is the next PlayStation Showcase is probably going to be all nothing but gaming related stuff. And then closer to like the E3 Summer Games Fest timeline, when all eyes are on the industry, when everybody knows, you tune in at June, because you're going to be seeing all kinds of announcements from all of the studios, all of the platform holders, meaning Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. Like, all eyes going on the industry in the June period, just like they all eyes going on the industry around the Game Awards period also. I think that's when we'll end up seeing it. Like, there's going to be a PlayStation showcase of the future or whatever, and that's where they end up showing. Just similar to the way that they did the PS5 announcement. That was the same timeline roughly for that too. But as you'll see with other hardware in this list, it's possible that the console could be revealed with some other hardware at a later date. Like I said, expected release date September 23. Again, they have no idea. They have no idea on that. That is so rumor. New audio hardware. Sony is currently working on 2 wireless audio devices for PlayStation 5. Project Nomad wireless earbuds. Maybe something to take on the Apple earbuds or whatever. And Project Voyager wireless headset are expected to release by the end of fiscal year 23, March 24. If anything, I think they would announce it this year and then maybe next year put them out. But yeah, end of fiscal year 23, I think that's too soon. They're still, if you go on their website, they're still marketing the Pulse headphones, and we just got an update for Pulse headphones. So unless the Pulse headphone software tech that they got run would be exactly what they'd be running in the earbuds, maybe, because not everybody likes headphones. So hit the market up for earbuds also. Sure. Q-Lite. I think this is complete horseshit. I think this whole thing right here, Q-Lite handheld, I don't think Sony would want to mess with handheld ever again. They've already said it multiple times. They have no real interest in handhelds because Nintendo and Steam have that market, so Sony doesn't want to bother with it. We've heard this many times. Plus, also, all the PlayStation games are on Steam. You don't need a PlayStation. Okay, believe it or not, Sony is working on a new handheld device. Don't get ahead of yourself. It's not a successor to the Vita 2, or it isn't a successor to the Vita 2? There's a Vita... Huh? Isn't it a successor to the Vita 2? There was a second Vita I missed? What? On a more personal level, I've had a lot of time to digest what exactly this new piece of hardware is going to be, and to be honest, it's more of an accessory, if anything. Only using remote play with PlayStation 5 to handheld will feature adaptive streaming up to 1080-60. I think what this would actually be would be an app for the PlayStation app is going to get remote play of some kind where it's running, we guarantee you can do adaptive streaming up to 1080-60. That's what it would be. And then maybe like an accessory for your phone, just to hold your phone in and have like a PlayStation, maybe, because that doesn't cost as much. They could do that very cheaply and then just use what they already have for infrastructure on their platform as is. I could maybe see that. The Q-Lite will look just like the DualSense controller, but have a large screen in the middle, and one of its main features, assumed selling points will be the incorporation of haptic feedbacks, just like the DualSense. Again, no, just all you gotta do is make the same way that the Xbox has a controller that you put your phone onto. So it's a controller that comes with a bracket that you put your phone onto, and you can attach it via the little USB-C from the controller to the back of your phone, like your charging port on your phone, and you can literally run an Xbox game through. It doesn't work too well. I've tested it a couple times over again. It does not work too well at all. So this whole thing right here is just like, if it's a cheap solution and software wise, sure. If it's a whole new system unit that they're trying to come out with, complete bullshit. There's no way. Not when they just barely got the DualSense Edge just barely came out. They just barely put out the PSVR 2, and on top of that, you have the PlayStation console shortage just ended. So yeah. Okay, again, this is bullshit. PlayStation 5 Pro. It's been a hot topic of discussion as of late, but yes, Inside Gamer has previously revealed that Sony does have a PlayStation Pro in development. It's not a PS5 Pro, it's a PS6 test kit you're seeing. Our report in March was dismissed as being inaccurate by many. I was one of them. When it was first reported, and although PS5 Pro could be canceled at any given time, Inside Gaming can report with a 100% degree of certainty that PlayStation 5 Pro is currently in development. Give me a break. While we cannot report on any more specifics at this time, we understand that the first dev kit prototypes will be going to first-party development. No, you know what it is? It's not 24 either. I hate to break the news to you. It's going to be like 2026, if anything. Um, you know what they're seeing is a PS6 dev kit going around because, yes, you push the dev kits out at least 2 years in advance to make sure that all your game engines that are running on your first party titles can run on it, and also that you can optimize for the future of like, okay, where is gaming monitors at, where are TVs at, where, you know, Mark Cerny is over there with his team trying to be like, okay, how can we make the most frame rate happen, because everybody is on this like 60 FPS. It has to be 60 FPS. I'm kind of in that boat too. Everything should be 60 FPS and up. So with that going on, that's a PlayStation 6 at that point. That's not a PS5 Pro. Again, we are still a couple few years out from that being like a thing, because game engines right now, if you try and play a game on the PC, we've had like 6 games on the PC, and PCs, we're talking hardware that is above the grade of the PS5 hardware. I know it sucks to say, I'm a PlayStation fan through and through, but yes, the like an i9 13th gen processor with a 40 series graphics card has more system resources than a PS5 Pro or a PS5. The fact that PS5 games run as well as they do on the PS5, that is just like, it's awesome seeing that Sony's doing that. Okay, so yeah, I'm not taking anything away from the PS5, and there's a lot of times when the PS5 runs games better than the PC platform, but that's the reason why I'm sticking to my guns of there is no PS5 Pro. It's a PlayStation 6 dev kit that they're working with, that we're going to end up seeing. You know, they're trying to optimize to make sure that all the games are going to be running really well on the PlayStation platform, just like they did with the PlayStation 5 going forward into the future of like, okay, let's make sure that we are the best platform to play on. Xbox really doesn't care. Nintendo is not putting out any new hardware, so let's stick with this. Let's make sure that the PlayStation can be like the end all be all. Even I would really highly bet the PlayStation 6 is probably even going to take on the PC market, but not really take it on, because in all honesty, Sony, at the same time that they they're taking over the console market, they're not really taking on the PC market because they're also putting games out on the PC. So I think it's more or less just making sure that they work really well in tandem. You know, like The Last of Us and, what was it, Days Gone, The Last of Us, Spider-Man, Horizon, like all those games are on there. Final Fantasies also, those like a year or 2 years afterwards, they come over to the PC side of things. So it's going to be very interesting going forward. It's going to be even more like, yeah, we want both because they make a lot of money on both platforms. So they're going to want both to work just as well as one another. But it's just the way that Sony can do like the custom configuration on the hardware and software side of things when it is their console and their system, that they can't do with PCs, because you got to think PCs, there's 1,000 different ways of building a PC. There's different parts and different ways that all the parts talk to one another and everything, where PlayStation is just like, this is it, this is the box, this is what you have to work with, make it work on this box. So yeah, like I said, it's just like the developers can just focus on the one box. Really, in all honesty, I think if anything, what should be in the headline news on this whole article is there should be rumors that the PS4 is getting cut off, because I think it's that time now of like, okay, PlayStation 4, you've had your time, you've been around for a long time, you are getting kind of old now. I love the PS4. I got one sitting right over here. I'd love to, I'd love to see it stick around, but it's not there anymore. So I absolutely love the PS4. PlayStation 4 is going to always have a really good, solid in my fan of fan hots. PlayStation 4 is always going to be there because it brought me back into the PlayStation family full time. Of like, I don't need an Xbox anymore. Again, though, just like I said, 3 years ago, whatever it's been, almost 3 years ago. Jesus, PlayStation 5's been out for like almost 3 years, I think. Just like I said back when it was first launching, in the future, all you're going to need is a PC and a PlayStation. You're not going to need a Switch, or you're not going to need an Xbox. Again, that's going to double up even going into the future now, because between subscription service stuff, between hardware stuff and everything, that's exactly what we're going to end up seeing going forward. So, talking about the future stuff. So a lot of discussion around the PlayStation showcase. PlayStation have a lot to announce. Here's what they're highly likely to announce. Okay, so Spider-Man 2 gameplay. Possibly, I think that's probably a high possibility. Ghost of Tsushima 2 announcements. If they make an announcement, it's going to be a very quick like, blah, 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 Ghost of Tsushima 2 happening. Just a teaser, like a logo teaser. It's in development. A Wolverine trailer. We are probably due for that. Also, it's probably going to be a two-shotter of a Spider-Man 2, and then it's going to go right into Wolverine. And it's going to be like, oh, man, I'm going to lose my mind over all that stuff. Fire Sprite AAA narrative adventure gameplay. I don't think so. They just barely bought the studio. There's no way we're seeing that yet. That's going to be like maybe next year. Santa Monica's new IP single player announcement. I don't think so. It's too close to the. We just had God of War drop. I think it's too close to that. I don't think we're seeing anything Sony Santa Monica. They're probably, in all honesty, they're probably still in concept phasing. They're trying to figure out exactly what the fuck they want to work on, or well, no, not what they want to work on. They are probably trying to still figure out all the logistics of how they want to work on what they have decided to work on. Basically, of like, okay, how many actors do we need? They're probably still writing out the story of it as they're going, as they're trying to figure out and concepting and everything. Let's see here. Last of Us Part 2 Factions gameplay. That could be. Blue Point original AAA game announcement. Possible. I mean, let's see here. Yeah, it's probably about time we see something from Blue Point of what the hell they're working on. Haven Cloud multiplayer announcement. You better hope it's not a cloud-based multiplayer game, because if it is, that studio is just gonna, like, once again, Jade Raymond, it's gonna be in a really bad spot. DVA multiplayer game announcement. I really hope a lot of these aren't just multiplayer games, because the single player games do so much better on PlayStation platform. Firewalk multiplayer announcements. So if these are all multiplayer games, what I'm really hoping is they're all co-op and not just like competitive online shooters or some shit. Guns Up 2 announcement. What the hell is Guns Up 1? Okay, so this must be like an indie title of some kind. Rise of the Ronin gameplay? Maybe. Death Stranding 2 gameplay? No. I don't think we're seeing that here. We'll see it at Summer Games Fest or maybe the Game Awards or something. We're not seeing a PlayStation Showcase. I don't think so. Helldivers 2 gameplay. We haven't really heard. So they're going off from the job stuff down here. Maybe. I mean, if we haven't really heard anything of like, hey, check out the first game. Usually you have a little bit of that marketing strategy of like, hey, you remember Helldivers? Well, guess what? You might want to check out this showcase over here. Usually you have something like that happening. Multiplayer new AAA IP action shooter. So Fire Sprite is you're trying to say they're working on two separate games at the same time, or is this the same game that they're trying to work on at once? This makes me think, again, I don't think Fire Sprite is showing anything. They just barely got acquired. It's too early. Multiplayer project announcement by Insomniac Games. I think this might be also wrong. So what I'm gonna say is there's probably a co-op mode built into Spider-Man where Spider-Man and Venom, or Spider-Man and Miles Morales and Venom all work together in like a co-op fashion or something, and that's what the multiplayer aspect of the Insomniac stuff is. And Bungie's unannounced AAA project. So this one, maybe. There could be some merit to that. So with all this Call of Duty deal going down, what have I been saying over and over and over again? I think they're going to bring back something like a Resistance Fall of Man or a Killzone. Resistance Fall of Man made by Bungie could really work. Like they have the know-how to end up doing that. Would they let Killzone be made by anybody other than Guerrilla Games? I don't know. We'll have to see. It's really up in the air on that one. But yeah, I would say probably half of this list is very just like wish listy. I get that they're going off from job listings, which is it's a decent thing, but you don't know what that job, like anything multiplayer could mean 4 or 5 different things. Like it could be just like, a multiplayer stats thing. It could be co-op. It could be competitive multiplayer. It could be something that they're working on, but they're going to end up canceling after a little bit. Like, there's so many times where co-op gets dropped from games. That just happens. So let's see here. Oh yes, and also one of the other things too is Harada. This is like a side note thing. So Harada saying points at PS5's SSD as the biggest thing that's going to evolve the player experience in the game for Tekken 8. This is the second major development studio head that has said this, with Yoshi saying it for FF16. Like, FF16 could barely be run on the PC. Like, they have to optimize it. Possibly the same thing might just end up happening with Tekken 8 also, where it's just like you need some more optimization for the PC side of things. Again, it's just the nature of the beast with PC right now, because game engines, we're in that middle ground where it's like, so the last generation that we had this happen in was like the PS3, Xbox 360 era, where you had a lot of games that also got put on. So the consoles were running all right, but the PC ports were kind of rough because they were trying to figure out how to, because it's just PC hardware was being made specifically for PC gaming, and that's what we've seen once again, where it's like, I just heard from one, or I was just hearing on one of the channels that was talking about, like, one of the PC tech building channels there. One of their hosts, I guess you could say, was talking about how, like, console gaming has pushed DLSS 2.0 into and now 3.0 into like a very forefront of the menu system and the way that they do upscale rendering and everything on PC gaming, because consoles, it's just like the way a consoles read stuff, and DLSS is basically trying to do that similar kind of like reading of the data. And if anything, it's actually helping the PC experience along. Like, we just seen where Star Wars, most everybody's running it at like 40 FPS, and they introduced like another like modded version of hold on a second. It's determining quality. We didn't drop connection, did we? Hold on. Twitch is giving me some weird readouts. No, there it goes. It's just a website. But yeah, somebody like made a modded version of DLSS for Force Unleashed, and they brought it all the way up to 90 FPS. There was artifacting and stuff. It wasn't perfect, but it was just like the fact that is a thing. So on the flip side of things, there is also the Xbox Showcase coming up in June, of course. It's going to be Xbox Showcase and Starfield Direct at the same time happening, one right after the other. What they're going to be showing on the Xbox Showcase, I am going to straight up say right now, it's going to be all the games that they just bought and paid for with their acquisition money. That's what we're going to end up seeing. Are we going to be seeing Activision be promoted in all this Xbox Showcase? I think that's the reason why they're pushing for all this stuff real hard. And we're already seeing Starfield's trending and all that. My thing with Starfield, you have no idea how much I want that to be good. If it's like Fallout 4, because I really liked Fallout 4. I really liked the Fallout experience. I think it's really super cool that you can go around, talk to anybody, blow anybody up, do the whole damn thing like that. I think that's awesome. You put that in space where it feels like a Mass Effect type of thing, where you're building up your ship and you're going on these adventures and you're going to all these planets and everything else. That is like the ultimate wish list thing in my book of a game to be made. If it's being made by Bethesda, aka what I like to dub them as Bug Bethesda, that's where I have my doubts on it. And the reason why I say that is because, I mean, hell, like, the modding community doesn't lie. When you go to something like a Nexus Mods, your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and seventh game is all Bethesda Studios titles that have been released over the years, including basically their last like actual single player game. Because Fallout 76, if you run mods online, I'm guessing you probably get banned. I don't know. I don't play it. I didn't. Just quest structure on it was just meh to me. But that same thing is going to happen with Starfield. It's going to release, and everybody's going to have to mod the shit out of it to make the game really function proper. We know this. We know this. It's unfortunate that happens. And again, I'm really looking forward to it, but it's not going to drop well. We already know this. So that's going to be the real, like, everybody's talking about Redfall right now. What the real sad situation is going to be is Starfield, because Starfield is going to be probably the next cyberpunk thing where everybody's going to be like, well, games would just launch and would be good on launch and all that. Again, we're in this middle ground right now of like, yeah, it's sure the games should be launching finished and everything, but the way the technology is and the way the game engines are trying to push so much system resources, I get the reason why they are launching in kind of weird states right now, and they're still trying to figure out like, okay, how do we make this fully work on every single platform? There's been a lot of the games like Wolong. I played it. I had no problem. I ran through the whole thing, no problem at all. I had seen a lot of people say I can't even start the game. It's like, well, why is the game engine acting so funky on some people's machines, yet some other people's machines it just boom, it just kicks on, it just works. I mean, hell, right now Red Dead will not run on this computer because I have a graphics card issue that I just cannot figure out how to resolve. It sucks, but that's just kind of the nature of things right now. We have to just wait for the game developers to actually figure out the coding issues and all that stuff, and to try and like. But the fact that Redfall it dropped in the state it dropped, and it's the type of game that is so weird to see from Arcane Studios, because Arcane is known for doing like Deathloop and Dishonored, which are two very well put together games. Deathloop sure has little issues with AI built into it, of AI being, you know, somewhat like easy to manipulate and control and everything, but that was kind of the point of the game though. Starfield is going to be on that same level, just like, you know, Fallout 4 had its problems with AI issues also with the NPCs. They were kind of just like they just walk around doing whatever. You think Starfield's not going to have that same problem too? It's the same people programming it. Of course it's going to, and it's the same game engine. It's going to have that problem again. What is that? What are those issues going to bring up when it comes to how the gameplay is, you know, experienced, I guess, by the player? Does it break the experience? Does it break the immersion of the whole thing? We have to wait to find out, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be, you know, whatever they show, keep this in mind. Whatever they show in the marketing for Starfield, be very cautious of it and take it with a grain of sand, because, yeah, I mean, we've already seen like the first like gameplay trailer of it that they showed off looked alpha as fuck, because there was no hit markers, there was no HUD, there was no like. At first, I was just like, holy shit, this looks amazing. And then I watched the trailer back a couple times. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff missing from this. Why is there a lot of stuff missing? Like, all that stuff should be implemented into the gameplay early to make sure that, okay, this is just placeholder HUD and everything. And then this is going to be easier to read later on. We're going to make sure that the HUD works and everything works, you know, seamlessly throughout the whole thing. Even implementing the HUD, you can screw up some elements in the game, you know, of like interactable points and everything. So yeah, it's definitely, like I said, it's like PlayStation is looking really good. I just hope they keep going, doing what they're doing, of like, you know, if they do studio acquisitions, that they just fund it and make really cool stuff, you know, to help the studio make their visions become a reality of the game that they want to make. Games, Xbox right now, like I said, it's all about Game Pass with them. So Starfield, everybody's like, Redfall is the last final nail in the coffin. I'm like, no, wait until the marketing starts up, and then we're going to see Starfield probably be that last nail in the coffin where everybody's like, okay, I'm done with the Xbox. Let's go to the PlayStation. Let's go to PC. And Xbox, I think after Starfield, if Starfield does really bad, like it pretty much projected to do, I think that's when Xbox is just going to be like, okay, I think we're just done with, you know, with the whole thing of, I think they might just, I want to say they're going to be done making games, but I don't think they're done making games yet. I think what they're trying to do is they're just trying to make games to sell Game Pass, like they've been trying to do for like the last like year or two. And that is like a really rough situation for the devs, because now it's just like, okay, unless it sells Game Pass and Microsoft has the if Microsoft has the what's the word I'm looking for, um, the trust, I guess, in the developers to sell Game Pass, that's when they're going to get the funding to make everything. Like Redfall just screams they lost funding and they put it out too early. Like or not lose funding, but they only had so much funding and they couldn't get the game delayed at all, so they put it out way too early, and that's what you got was that. But also the game design on it, like why in the hell are the quest designs? It feels like it's an MMO or something. Like it's just really weird ass like fetch quests where the last two games that they put out were super cool designs of like, oh, if you do this, it manipulates the NPCs to be in different locations and do different things, so then you can end up attacking them easier. That's way more complicated than what the hell you just put out with Redfall. How? Why did that change? Where did the it's something that we won't know until there's actual like dev interviews, but it's just so weird seeing like there's like after Microsoft acquired them, that's the product that we get. I mean, that right there makes sense because like again, it's just like, hey, people are going to subscribe to Game Pass to play Redfall if we market this really good. So just get something just to get them in there. Just get them in there to check it out for a minute. It's just a very boring game was Redfall. And that's again, that's so weird when it comes to Arcane Studios because they usually make stuff that you don't think you're going to like and then you jump into it and you're like, this is actually kind of interesting, kind of cool. So what the hell? How did what Redfall happen? So weird. So weird on that. But yeah, showcase. So Xbox showcase in June. What I really think is we're gonna have two PlayStation showcases. We're gonna have the showcase in May, and then we're gonna turn around and have like a part 2 of the showcase in June to go along with the Summer Games Fest stuff, or just Sony's gonna show up to Summer Games Fest and bring a couple of games in there and be like, hey, check this out. And then we're also going to have the Xbox showcase, and then Nintendo's going to have something in June also, and then probably maybe more like PC exclusive games. Like maybe there would be a Game Pass showcase or something at Xbox, or well, actually no, that's what the Xbox showcase is going to be, is a Game Pass showcase, and that will be just like exclusive ones. I'm wondering if Steam or something like might have like a Steam Epic showcase. That could be a thing too to show off, whatever they have over there. Half-Life 3 at the Steam showcase. It's like, who knows at this point, if we see something like that. But yeah, we're about to get like slammed with so many trailers and so much information and all this stuff. So